Thank you all so very much for joining. In case some of you are looking at me and tripping because you're trying to figure out what that's behind me, I had another meeting this afternoon in Cheatham County. And so I came out to my car so that I could do this meeting. And that's what I am doing. I'm sitting in my car. But I am going to turn this over. This meeting is with D.R. Horton, and it's the Percy Cove development on Maxwell Road. I cannot see who's on here, so I'm just going to say hi to everybody because I'm kind of rushed because I'm just getting on here. So please forgive me if I didn't greet you like I normally do. But I'm so glad that you are on here. And we will go through and see the presentation. Then, as always, we will have some time for comments. And so help me with this. Is this one you all are looking to put up, or are things already in place? Woo, is that my, okay. I didn't know what came on there.
That was me, sorry.
Okay. So this does have to go through the council.
Correct.
It does, yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So this is something that they are presenting because they want to build it, and it will have to go through the council for to be put on the agenda in order to be approved. And so you know how we do that. At the end, there will be times for you all to then have your piece about what you think needs to be moved around, done, what you approve, those type of things. And usually there's a couple of meetings, unless this is just something that we say automatically no, we're not very interested in, which most of the time are apartments, but we do want to just let them to look to see what they have on. I don't know where that is. Okay, so Melissa, I'm just talking now. When they get on, I'm sure that they will give you more specifics about where it is and what they want to do. So I'm about to turn it over to you now. If you will go ahead and introduce everybody. Mr. Temple, are you the main one?
I am, but Matt will be running with it as well.
Okay, so
Yes,
if you
ma'am.
will introduce everybody who is with you, and if you will assign somebody that they can also watch the chat, because a lot of questions are placed in the chat instead of asked out. And I will go ahead and let you all go. And thank you, everybody that's on here. And Rosie, thank you so very much as always. Okay, I'm turning it over.
All right. Well, thank you, Miss Lee, for joining us. I know you're rushing around. We've been in meetings all day too, running around. So anyways, my name is Brandon Temple. I'm with D.R. Horton. And then Matt Dowdle is with us as well as the Director of Land. Many of you might know us. We've got a huge development, a beautiful development right next door called Heritage Landing. This one would be at the dead end of Maxwell Road. But thank you guys for joining and taking time out of your day. I know it's 6 o'clock and it's kind of late. Everybody's preparing for dinner. Besides that, Matt, you can take it away. If we do have any questions and comments that come up in chat, feel free to ask away. We'll answer them at the end, just so we can run through the presentation and then try to follow up with everything. Matt, have at it, boss.
Sure. All right. Thanks everyone for joining. We appreciate it. Brandon, if you want to move on to the first slide so we can kind of show everyone where this project is in relationship to some other landmarks in the area. So this is over at the far east end of Maxwell Road. The Maxwell, Brandon, I don't know if you can use your cursor if everyone can see that. Maxwell Road currently dead ends to the east side at the Corps of Engineers property, just kind of south of Percy Priest Lake. So right there where Brandon's cursor is, the road currently stops right there. And so the three parcels that we're looking to develop are owned by the Jenkins family, and they total approximately 24.5 acres. And they're on the east side of Maxwell Road. Now, the property across the street is owned by the New Living Hope Church. They have broken ground and they are going to be developing a new church for the area right there. So our proposed project would be right across the street from that new church. Just to the east of that, there's two larger single-family parcels that have been there for a while. And then next to that parcel is the Davenport Downs community. That is an American Homes for Rent community there, and they connect into the Pepper Tree Forest community and onto Maxwell. And then on the south side of Maxwell is our other project in the area. It's called Heritage Landing, and that community connects out Hickory Woods Drive out to Murfreesboro Road. And in fact, the road that connects right there, that's the extension of Hickory Woods Drive. That road is in the process of being paved right now. So there is about to be a connection from Davenport Downs area right there, that intersection out to Murfreesboro Road. So that'll relieve some traffic off of the Maxwell, Laverne, Couchville Pike intersection, which is over further to the west beyond Pepper Tree Forest. The property to the north and to the east of the subject property, our proposed development, is all owned by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. That's federal land. And then to the south of us is Hurricane Creek. And then beyond Hurricane Creek is the city of Laverne. And there's no connections there. There will not be any connections. So there's no through traffic or anything like that will be created by this development. Brandon, you want to move on to the next slide real quick? Okay, this is our proposed development. It's 86 single-family homes. It's all kind of self-contained, as you can see, because of the limiting factors that I showed you in the previous slide. We're proposing alley homes along Maxwell Road, so there will not be any driveway connections onto Maxwell. And then there's alley lots that will back up to those alley lots that you can see, the A and the C lots, those are the alley lots. And then there's a number of B lots, which are your kind of standard garage facing type homes. As a part of this development, we will be improving Maxwell Road from our property line to property line, basically. Similar to what Heritage Landing is doing next door, where Heritage Landing is putting in curb and gutter, or widening the road, putting in curb and gutter and a sidewalk. We'll be doing the exact same thing on our side of the road. So we'll be contributing public access from the north end of our property, which will stub at the Corps of Engineers property, and which is currently, that area is currently managed by TWRA and does have some public access to it. And then this property will connect to the sidewalk to the east, right there at the Heritage Landing community. And actually, Brandon, can you flip back one slide real quick? So this will provide a connection, sidewalk connection, all the way from the north side, basically, of the church property or our property, and it'll provide a pedestrian connection all the way back to the two streets that you can see right there in the Pepper Tree Forest community on Maxwell Drive, because the Heritage Landing community has provided sidewalk. And so then we'll provide sidewalk down here. And so that'll provide a long length of walkable space for people in the area to use, where they won't have to walk on the public streets. And one thing that our community is going to provide is, with that pedestrian connection, we're going to provide a community park, whether it be like a dog park and some open space, or possibly more of just a public park. But we're kind of thinking a dog park at this moment. But along with that, we'll have walking trails that'll go along the southern side of the community that will tie back into the public sidewalk inside of our community. So you could actually make a loop up around and then back out to Maxwell, and you could kind of use that as almost like an exercise loop if someone in the surrounding area wanted to get outside of their immediate neighborhood and walk a little further. So that's kind of one benefit that we're going to be providing for the community as well. We'll be providing typical stormwater detention. Bioretention is required by the city of Nashville. We'll be discharging over to Hurricane Creek, which goes directly into the core property. So we'll be able to treat our stormwater for any pollutants. And then when they're released, they'll be released basically directly into the reservoir. And so we won't be contributing any additional stormwater to any of the other areas of the community for any type of flooding or anything like that. So we're going to be very self-contained in a way back here in the corner. The other thing that we think we're going to do is we're going to kind of clean up this area. The end of Maxwell Road right now is a bit of a mess. If you could go one more, Brandon. So these pictures were actually taken yesterday at the very end of Maxwell Road. So there's a lot of people use it as a dumping ground. The church, I think, is concerned about that as well. And so I think when we activate this along with the church property across the street, we're going to clean up this area quite a bit and make it a more desirable area. And we won't have some of the dumping and other things that go on, illegal activities that go on down here. And Brandon, if you want to go back one more slide, we can show our home product. So these are the types of homes that we're planning to build in the community. That's not vinyl siding, that's a hardy plank siding, brick and stone accents, and they're a good quality home. And I think that we're going to be providing needed housing for the area. Nashville is growing, and this will be an opportunity for people to move into an exciting area. Antioch's growing, and people want to be there. Our homes are selling very well in the Heritage Landing community right next door. So we know people want to be in Antioch. So this will just be another option for people to live and to create a nice little enclave down at the end of Maxwell Road for that. I think that's pretty much what we have to show you today. We can kind of open it up to any type of questions or comments that anyone might have. And I think we'd love to try to answer everybody's questions the best we can. I don't know, Ms. Lee, how you want to do this. If you want to, I don't know how.
Since you have this screen up, I can't really see the hands. So what I would ask you to do, I think you answered most of them about the questions in the chat. I just saw Melissa asked what was this currently zoned.
I
see
so
that.
what I would say is go through first, see if you have everything in the
Sure.
chat. Then if someone has a question and nobody's talking, please just go ahead and do that question. And I'll ask you to kind of spread it around. Don't have the same person ask 3 and 4 questions. Let other people talk or give their input, and so we can move right along. And I'm going to let you address that one that Melissa said, and then if anybody else, just go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, yeah, I'll answer that question real quick. So Melissa asked what the land is zoned. Currently, the property is zoned AR2A, and we're
I see Mr. McDowell's mouth moving, but nothing's coming out. I think he didn't unmute himself. So after you finish answering, I see a Melissa had hers, and then there's a Mr. Farmer whose hand is up as well.
I apologize. I muted myself while you were speaking, Ms. Lee. Sorry about that. So Melissa asked what the land is zoned. It's currently zoned AR2A, and we're proposing to rezone it to RS10. And the RS10 is within the Antioch Percy Priest community plan as a zoning that would be perceived as fitting in with the local community. matches some of the existing surrounding communities. The Heritage Landing community is the same zoning. And I believe the Davenport Downs subdivision, 2 properties over, is also the same. Jewel, I think you're on here. I'm not sure if that's correct or not. We might want to double check that. I think Mr. Farmer had his hand up virtually.
Yes, I did. I want to thank you guys for, especially Council Member Antoinette Lee for, holding this evening. I just want to verify, I have friends that live in the area. I have friends that have grown up in the area. Maxwell Road needs some work, and, what they're proposing with D.R. Horton, they build a very fine, affordable affordable homes for folks. It will enhance the area. There will not be any additional access onto that road. And I can verify, I'm at that road pretty often, and there's a lot of illegal dumping. So, at that point, Metro has to send out folks to clean up that dumping at the end of that Maxwell Road where the Corps of Engineer property is. There's the gate there for the Corps. There's always vehicles parked down there, illegal activity, which the police officers have to come out and check on. But everything they're proposing is only just going to better the community, and, changing it to where they can get in there and build that dog park and nice sidewalks for people to walk and things like that. It's going to just enhance that community out there. And they are already building a great product over in the Heritage Landing area. So I just think it's a wonderful thing that they're doing, for the Jenkins family to sell that property and, to get that switched over and go ahead and start that development, because there is a lot of, we're just short of homes, and it will give people the ability to be able to be homeowners, first-time home buyers, our veterans, things like that. So I think it's a great product, and I just wanted to add that in this evening. And again, thank you for the call. I've enjoyed listening to it, looking at the plan. So, D.R. Horton is a great company, and they build a great product, and they stand behind what they do.
Okay,
And
thank you, Mr. Farmer. Mr. Farmer,
you're
I'm
so-
sorry.
You're so welcome.
Okay, other questions?
Yes, I have my hands raised. So
Yes,
this,
Mr. White.
hey, Councilwoman Lee. Quick question. So, and I'm gonna actually take GS. Someone put one in the chat, so I'll state theirs because it's one of mine. But what would be the approximate cost of the housing that you're proposing to build?
Well, as of right now, we're assuming that we're going to be starting somewhere in the kind of low 300,000s, and we could creep into close to 400,000, depending on the size of the home. The lots on Maxwell are a little bit larger, but it really it's going to depend on also material costs and everything else. I'm sure you've seen all throughout the news, the cost of lumber, the cost of windows, the cost of everything has just gone up. So it's just going to depend on those material costs, but we're hoping to keep the costs low. I know there's some crazy home pricing going on out there, and that's not what we want to do. We want to keep homes that are affordable, that people can move into and purchase. So that's our goal.
Okay, and she stated thanks, so I can move on to my question. So I guess my first question would be, and I just heard Mr. Farmer talk about the overall benefit of this particular development, but what I did not hear, and maybe you guys can clarify or elaborate on this, is you're building houses, which you guys stated is going to help people become homeowners. But as you know, within Antioch and also other parts of the city, people are struggling with the overall resources that are available to them. Streets are not what they should be. Schools are overpopulated, as well as just the overall quality of life is not there. And so could you help me to understand how this development will improve the quality of living for the people here in Antioch?
Well, I think it's going to help improve people in the immediate area for sure. I don't know how large of an area when you say Antioch, but we did get information from Metro Planning. I know you mentioned schools, and we found that the they are estimating that this project would increase the schools, but with 21 elementary students, 15 middle school students, and 16 high school students. And according to Metro Public Schools, all 3 schools are identified as having capacity for these additional students, is what we were given by Metro Planning. So just wanted to mention that regarding the schools. But as far as for the community, so I know that we'll be improving, our section of road right there in front of Maxwell Road, which is, it's a very narrow road, and we'll be contributing to that portion of the infrastructure. And I think just providing quality of life as far as walkable, getting people outside, providing access to park area, providing access to walking trails. I think that's what we can do for that immediate area right around where this development's located.
So, and Councilwoman Lee, maybe you can chime in, as we have heard in this area in particular with the capacity of schools. To say that we're not at max capacity is not a fair statement. In fact, if you look at the mayor's capital spending plan, it's the reason why he's bringing schools to this district. It's because we're already over capacity as relates to our students. And so Councilwoman Lee, is planning providing inaccurate information as relates to the impact of schools, or how can we get that information level set? Because as you know, in your district, particularly in that area, the schools are overcrowded.
I don't know where planning is getting their information from. I am not going to say that they are doing inaccurate information. What I will say is I talk to everybody who comes here that wants to bring development here, and that's the first thing that I tell them about the schools. I also tell them that if they don't be saying that stuff that they get from planning about that, because you all will chew them up and spit them out. So evidently they forgot that I told them that, or something. I don't know, because I always tell them about our schools are already overcrowded and needs work. So as to answer your question about is planning giving out inaccurate information, I don't know where they're getting their information from, but we know that we already have some problems with our schools. So that's that.
Hey, Councilor Lee, this is Sean Henry.
Hey, Sean.
How you doing?
Fine.
I'm representing the group here, the DR Horton and the developer. That school information came from Metro Nashville Public Schools, their school enrollment and utilization report that was submitted from MNPS to the planning department. So that's the source of it.
So Sean, I think, and maybe I should have said this before, I don't know if that is neither here or there, but Mr. White did ask, were they giving out inaccurate information? So thank you for giving us where they got that from. But I think the basic information is we're fighting with populations growing here, and our infrastructure and schools aren't. So I think that was the main point that was trying to be made.
Yeah, and I can clarify, Councilwoman Lee. So if you guys can provide those stats, we actually have a representation from the board of Metro Board who provides us with pretty relevant and up-to-date data, and we can do our comparison between the two of, again, what the population is of schools, what the capacity is, and what impact this particular development will have. I did join a little bit late. How many homes are these? Are you guys building?
We're proposing 86.
So 86 homes, and you're saying around 21 new additions will be for elementary. Is that what I heard?
Yes, that's what the report that Metro Planning provided us from Metro Schools. Yeah, 21 elementary, 15 middle, and 16 high school.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, if we can just get that information to Councilwoman Lee and she can distribute it out to the group, we certainly would like to confirm and have some additional conversations as relates to that data.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Thank you. Whatever you get out to me, then we can email it to everybody that was on here.
Sure.
I believe Miss Melissa has another hand. I can't see if there's another hand of someone who hasn't
Yes,
spoken
my hand is,
before. But I see a Karen. I may be saying it wrong. Karen C. I don't believe she has spoken. And then Miss Melissa. Oh, and whoever is keeping track, I see a Danny Clausen as well. So
Well, Melissa,
Danny, Karen, and Melissa. Thank you.
Melissa, you can go first.
okay, I'll go. This comment is for Ms. Lee to the developers. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you guys know that Antioch, it's in trouble. I mean, we don't have the infrastructure. You guys are developers, you know about streets, you know about resources. And we, the people that live here in Antioch, that's what we're worried about this, because nobody is pushing for infrastructure, but everybody's pushing for developments, and you guys don't have to pay impact fees. So it's up to us, the taxpayers, to pay for all the streets that are broken, for all the new stoplights, for everything. So that's why some of us oppose to more development until we see some infrastructure in place. So it's nothing personal. If you lived here, you would complain too. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. I think Miss Karen. Am I saying your name correctly?
Yes, ma'am, you are. I
Okay.
appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for asking, and thank you for having this meeting. My question is, I guess, to whoever, I'm not sure who to ask this question to, but I'll just say it. I'm the HOA president of Keelan Downs, and we're actually in a dark community, meaning that the developers came in and Metro Council approved that that they didn't have to put in street lights, and I just don't want that to be the case for a new blooming community, particularly over in that area. So like, how do we make sure that they're not a dark community? It's our HOA fees are so low that we can't afford for the next 10 years to get streetlights put in. So I just want to make that be known that, communities are being approved without streetlights, and I don't think that's safe. Our community has a lot of break-ins and things like that due to, it just being so dark over here.
Yeah, we will definitely commit to putting in streetlights. We're installing them in our neighboring community, Heritage Landing, right there in Antioch, and we will definitely put in streetlights. We put streetlights in pretty much every single one of our communities, and we will commit to doing them here.
Okay, thank you for answering that. I appreciate that. Also, my HOA people, the community was promised, like, I see over here you have this storage drain. Ours just looks like a mess. It's just a overgrown field that the landscapers, it's so expensive to get it like built out to look at like anything that's really pretty. So I wanted to know exactly what were your finishing touches, or will it just be some type of field with rock and not really finished? What were your plans for that storm drain area?
Right. So those basins, they're not totally designed yet, but they will probably have something called bioretention within them, which is a fancy word for taking the water and putting it into the ground and filtering it through a series of sand and topsoil, and then allowing different types of plants that we put inside of there to soak up that water. So it's more sustainable. It doesn't provide as much runoff off the property, and provides for some vegetated areas that just don't look like an open field like you're talking about. And then we will have some areas that are more like grassed areas. If you're looking at the plan that's on the screen right now, those areas that are kind of along the trail, those will be, it'll be grass, and then we're going to plant trees and different things along through there. And so then, of course, that'll have to be maintained by the HOA. And so we have to make sure that we budget correctly, and that our HOA fees are set correctly so that those areas can be maintained. And we like to think we do a pretty good job at doing that. And right now in our adjacent community, If you were to drive through there, you'll be able to see the open spaces and the different areas that are how they're being maintained. So it'll be at a very similar level.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Karen. Mr. Clausen.
Yeah, thank you all for having this meeting. Councilman Lee, I own a resident just a few miles from this location. It's right down the road. And I'm really excited about this church coming in down here. And I'm really excited about getting Maxwell Road cleaned up. And I know the guys have already done a good job of cleaning up Maxwell. And I just think completing this out down here with what they're planning, it's just going to bring that all together with a nice little bow down there. And to put 86 lots right in front of a new church that's going in down there, I think I don't think we could go wrong with it in this area. So with what the subdivision heritage landing with bringing connectivity all the way out to Murfreesboro Road, and then them having to update and improve Maxwell Road is going to do nothing but benefit this area. It may not benefit all of Antioch, but this is just this area right here. And being that I own a home right down there, I just wanted to let you know I'm all for it. So thank you for holding this meeting.
Thank you. Miss Glenn. Oh, you're muted.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just want to say that I am a homeowner in Heritage Landing, and I'm really looking forward to.
Oh, you broke up.
Turn off my video.
Yeah, you lost service. Sammy, are you there? Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to say that I'm a homeowner in Heritage Landing, and I think that this development is actually going to be something great. D.R. Horton has definitely set its goals and proven with me being in the first phase of the community. And I would say HOA has been great. I will say that the community is being developed. If they tell you that they're going to do something, they follow through. And also with the schools, we live in Heritage Landing, but my kids don't go to school in zone. So I can see why they say only a certain amount of children would go to the specific schools that are already there, which it wouldn't cause overcrowding because they have optional schools, they have charter schools and all of the above. But I really think that D.R. Horton is doing something great by bringing this to the community and cleaning it up. And I think it's a really good idea.
Cool. Thank you, Jamie. Kelsey, you're next.
Hi, sorry. Clearly I'm all for the dog park. Hi, this is Kelsey here. Miss Lee, I'm a huge fan. Just wanted to say hi. Also, as for the comment about schools, I teach kindergarten and MNPS, and I'll just say everywhere we are tight. I have 22 kindergartners, and it's just life in Nashville right now. And I don't teach where my house is zoned for, and never have, but it's part of the beauty of Nashville, and we're growing. And I did want to get on here and say that I recently, less than a year ago, me and my husband purchased a house in Heritage Landing, and we love what it has done for the community. Just the walkable space, the community playground, the pool, everything from start to finish. D.R. Horton has taken care of everything. They always know almost how to predict what's gonna happen. If there's ever gonna be a problem, they're on it. The way that our street is lit up so we can look out for each other's homes when we know our neighbors are gonna be gone, et cetera, et cetera. Also, it's increasing the value to our neighborhood to add this. I know, I've been a Nashville native, like literally been here my whole life. So just increasing the value to Antioch. I just really love that, and I'm here for it. And I think Maxwell Road gets such a bad rep towards the end because it's literally a dumping ground. It looks bad. It looks so bad. So I think anything that we can do to add value to that is really going to help in the long run. But yeah, that's what I have to say. And I hope that other people in the community come drive by, look at what a great job that they've done in Heritage Landing, and they're continuing to do. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Your
Cheryl, you're next.
comments too. I want to say before the next person comes that everybody has a right to make the comments. So I hope you will respect everybody's comments and their points of view in this meeting. But thank you. And I'm sorry, go ahead. I can't see another hand. Whoever you called on next.
Sure.
Hello, how is everyone doing?
Good.
I just wanted to ask about the parking situation. I'm looking at the house that you put up, and you said it's going to be 85 of them. I don't see garages or long driveways or anything. So how would the parking be over there in that area?
I think I can answer that. So,
Yeah.
so all of our houses have 2-car garages. So we have a 2-car garage, and we'll have spaces for driveway spaces for another 2 cars inside the garage or in the driveway. Yet this is because we're so early just at the rezoning phase, we don't have actual homes shown on here, but the homes in the yellow and the A lots, those driveways will actually back up to the alley, as Brandon's noting there. So you won't see any driveways on Maxwell Road. People would park in the back of their home there. And same thing on the C lots, you would have driveway access off the back of the house. And then on the B lots, you would have access in the front, kind of like a traditional type of home situation. So it'd be the B lots would be very similar. If you go to the neighborhood right next door, the Heritage Landing community, you can drive through there and see how people are parking. And we don't seem to have any parking issues there whatsoever.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Melissa, did you have your hand up again?
Yes, I did.
Go for it.
So I was wondering about, you said that the houses, they're affordable, but I don't see the affordability because like you said, the HOA fees will be substantially high to pay for all the lights, the dog park, the walking trails, the landscaping. How much are you gonna charge a month for the HOA fees if they're supposed to pay for all this? How is this affordable? If you take into account the taxes every year, that's almost $3,000 for me, plus a mortgage on 300 and up for 300,000, plus the HOA fees, which will be what, almost 1,000 a year? Or, I mean, to pay for all this, only 86 homes, it's gonna be a lot of money. So I just wanna know, how is this affordable to anybody to pay for this?
Yeah, so we haven't established exactly what the HOA fees would be yet. But in similar communities, I'm doing a little calculation right here. We're typically around $30 to $40 a month. It really just depends on how good of a.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry to interrupt you because I know the numbers in specific here. I was on the board of directors here. I see all the bills. $30 a month for 86 homes is not gonna pay everything that's need to be paid for the HOA for 86 homes in such a 23 acres it is not gonna pay for it. I mean, I pay $300 a year and with 216 homes, and we can barely manage to pay for everything. So, and we don't have a dog park, we don't have walking trails. So, I mean, that something's not adding up.
Well, I think it depends on how your HOA is managed as well. We hire very good management companies that have excellent contracts with different types of landscaping vendors and companies that keep up with a lot of things. And so because they hire they manage many communities, and they get kind of like almost like bulk rates when it comes to maintaining these communities.
I know, and
So-
we bargain and we get the best prices, believe me. And even so, it's that hard to pay for everything. So I mean, it's just, I think not everybody realizes that it's the mortgage, is the HOA, and the taxes a year. So I mean, don't say this is affordable housing, because it's not.
I think, what do we have? Kelsey, but what I was gonna say is, for instance, I think our HOA, where I live, of course, we have more houses than this, is like 175, something like that a year. So I don't want you all to get caught up in trying to compare or talk about other areas, because that depends on what they do. But as you're talking about the fees and stuff, just talk about what you know here in the complex that you are putting together, and that you're adding, and that type of thing. So we won't get on other areas or other divisions, just this one that you're talking about.
Karen, I think you had your hand up.
No, I never lowered it. Thank you
Oh,
for
it just never went down. Okay. I guess Danny, yours isn't too. You guys are all good. I believe that's all the questions.
I had something to say about the HOA. Ours is very much affordable. I'll just be forward with you. It's about $35 a month, and it does take care of everything. I think these sidewalks and walking spaces and green spaces for our children, and just for our well-being in general, would be a great benefit to our area. So thank you again.
Thanks.
And I don't know if you all have gone back to make sure that there are no questions still left in the chat that you haven't answered.
It looks like they answered, unless anybody, if I missed anybody, please speak up by all means. But I believe that was it. Anything else, guys?
Did
Yeah,
we ever, I thought I saw a Kelsey. Did we ever get to Kelsey?
That was her. That was her.
Oh,
just
oh,
talking about
Yes,
oh,
the-
okay.
ma'am,
I'm
you
sorry.
did.
Okay. Tanya has something up.
What was, Tanya, have you thought about having rain gardens for the retention ponds? Matt, I believe
Yes.
we talked about it.
Yeah, so am I muted? No. Yeah,
Nope.
so bioretention, rain garden, very much the same thing. And we'll be working on those in conjunction with, assuming we get the rezoning, when we go through plan approvals with Metro. There's different types of stormwater cleaning and retention that we have to do on site. And so bioretention basins are very much like rain gardens. They're just normally on a bigger scale than a rain garden.
Okay, we have a little less than 15 minutes left. I do want you to mention, or I'll mention it, we talked about, because looking at your drawing, you have quite a few roads where at nighttime coming home from work, maybe somebody who wants to spin a wheel or two can drive straight through. I know when we talked about you having some type of speed calming or something to look at that as well. And I know that you talked to someone about making sure that that's lit, that the area, that lights are up there. So I want to make sure that you all have that. I want to ask, I saw something else jump up in the chat right quick, but it doesn't tell me what it is. So I'm going to pass it back to you to let you all read to answer that. But if anybody has anything right quickly, because you know, I usually like to have at least 2 meetings on something before we say we'll approve this. or we won't approve it. So if somebody has something else that they need to add to this or change, go ahead and say that in the last 2 minutes after he goes back through what got added in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't believe anything. They're asking Kelsey, what does it cover? And if Kelsey's in Heritage, that covers a pool, a playground, streetlights, sidewalk. That's all the above, but she's also in a larger community, so that fee is lower. But this community that we're offering does not have a pool, so we won't have to maintain that.
Yeah, I will say that a pool is it's a high dollar maintenance item, and this community will not have a pool. So that's where a lot of the money goes to in an HOA, is to a pool.
There's 419, I believe, Melissa. She
Yeah,
asked how many
420.
houses.
I think it's 420.
And I just have one other question. When will the final plans, well, when can you provide close to the final plans that you're seeking to be as far as structure and overall looks of the homes?
Sure. Yeah, our final plan. So the way this would work is that this has to go through Metro Council for rezoning, and then it goes through 3 readings. Is that correct?
Yeah, it goes through 3.
3 readings. And then if rezoning is approved, then we have to go back to Metro Planning Commission, where we submit our concept plan. And from there, after that, we go through Metro construction plan approvals and everything else. So there's a couple more steps along the line. So we won't get into the nitty-gritty super details until we know that the property is rezoned.
So Councilwoman Lee, can you clarify that? Because as you know, we have had developers who came with somewhat 90% final plans that we could see prior to it going to the zoning, as well as the 3 readings in council. So can you help me?
Yeah, I was just getting ready. I was getting ready to speak to that, Mr. White. Yeah, what I was getting ready to tell you was that we like to see more of what it may look like, because there may be pieces of it that we want to make sure looks a certain way. And then after you've already gotten it through council and it's been voted on, there's nothing to assure that you will make the changes that we're looking at or have the type of quality that we want. So we usually like, even if we have to add a SP to make sure certain materials are in there and that type of thing, we usually like to see that before it goes through the reading, so we'll know exactly what we are approving, what we approve is going to look like, and if something happens and you all drop off the face of the earth, that it's going to still look that way because it's in the plans and it's written down, and it's not something somebody can just change.
Sure.
And that would as well go for, because you were saying you were thinking about having a dog park and this and that. That would also go with that finalizing, saying what you decided, what it is going to be there and that kind of stuff, so that we will know.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely follow up with you, Ms. Lee, after this meeting and get some of those details.
And one of the things he may be talking about, I actually like to have another meeting to show people what it's going to be. And they usually ask the question, okay, what did you change from the last time? So that you can say, well, we've added this in, or we've gone into the plan to make sure that the lights are going to be there, or this is the type of traffic calming we're going to do. That type of thing, to let everybody that was on this be able to see again what the final thing is going to be, so that everybody will know.
Understood.
Yeah, and I just want to, and then I promise I'm done. I just want to make one last quick comment. I do appreciate, I think it's DR Horton. What's the name of the builder? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. DR Horton.
You got it
right.
right.
I do appreciate you guys' openness and willing to listen. One of the things that we see a lot is developers come into the meetings and not really providing any push and pull, not really open to listen. And so certainly also appreciate my fellow neighbors on the call who can vouch for the developments that you guys have. And again, that's what community togetherness looks like. that's what brings good quality of the developments as well as people coming together in the community. So just want to thank you guys as well as my fellow neighbors on this call.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted
Okay.
to jump in real one last question. In my community, we have dead end streets. I saw you only had one dead end street. But we noticed that the trash men and other vendors just have such a hard, and the neighbors also get kind of frustrated, you know, with people turning around in their yards and the trash man having to back. What can we do to make sure that, you know, to make it easy for our, you know, city workers to get in and out of the community? I think I just saw one dead end street, but is there something that you can fix? And then how would the postman get the mail to the houses that are in the alley? Like how does that work, and how would their trash be picked up?
Sure, I can talk to all that. So trash would be picked up by, it's within Metro, so it'd be picked up by Metro sanitation. And the roads will be designed in such a way that the radius or the curvature of the road is large enough to meet Metro standards for those trucks to be able to make the turn. And then on the dead ends at the end of like the cul-de-sac, and then the dead end at the end of the alley, the truck can make that turnaround. The one alley at the far north end that's only 2 lots, Metro will pull in because it's a short distance. They'll pull straight in and then back straight out, so they won't have an issue there. All the streets in this neighborhood will have a curb and a gutter on it, so no one will be able to just drive straight up into the lot because it'll be a 6-inch concrete curb that, you know, someone will run into. So there won't be people, you know, parking in the grass or anything like that. For mail, so any new development, pretty much in the state of Tennessee now, and probably around the country, people are not permitted to have mailboxes in front of their homes anymore. The Postal Service requires what's called cluster boxes. So mailboxes that you might see like traditionally like in an apartment complex. Those are required now in any new subdivision when I believe it's 5 or more lots. So at our Heritage Landing community right next door, we have a complete facility where the mail person comes and drops all the mail into each individual box in one central location. And then each person in the community walks or drives to get their mail in that location. And so if you were to go over to the Heritage Landing community, I wish I had a picture of it, you would see we've just got a grouping of what's called cluster boxes with a covered structure over it, so people can stand and get their mail protected from the elements. And we'll do something extremely similar here. And so there's no mailboxes in the alley or along Maxwell Road or anything like that. So those mailboxes will be located somewhere internally to the site. And when we get into the more of the detailed design and figure out the best place for those, that's where they'll be located. Hope that answers your questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I believe we had a question
I think it,
from Warner. He said, will floodplain ends be required? What will be the floodplain rating for this community?
Floodplain. Okay, I see it. Floodplain. Oh, insurance. I'm guessing maybe is what's being asked. Floodplain insurance. So this property does have floodplain. If you look at the map that's on the screen right now, you see that funny looking kind of jagged line down at the bottom. That is the floodplain. So the majority of our property, except for a little bit of the green open space or common space, is completely out of the floodplain. So these homes will not have any type of floodplain issues or floodplain insurance issues.
Cool. And it's almost time to go, but I see a Mr. Marvin with his hand up, and I know we have not heard from him tonight. So, Mr. Marvin, you have a comment?
Yes, hi, thank you. Yeah, I just had a comment regarding the infrastructure. I know it's not really just an Antioch or Nashville problem. It's an America problem. I know the American Society of Civil Engineers gave our infrastructure C- for 2021, but I don't think that should keep us from developing land and providing more housing, especially here in Nashville. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. I'm walking, but so I think it's D.R. Horton has the reputation, and I think if we can have more housing in the area, the better, because I know it's a limited supply. That's what's driving these house prices up. So if you can increase that supply, it would definitely help the prices as well.
Good point.
Okay,
Ms.
Thank you,
Lee, I
sir.
have one comment.
yes,
Okay, Mr. Marvin, do you live in the area?
I'm a Nashville native.
But you don't live right here in Antioch?
I live in South Nashville, close to Antioch, right on the border. And
I
I'm
thought,
very familiar
Melissa,
with that area.
do you have a question for our folks about this particular?
No, I had a question
chapter?
for Mr. Marvin. I'm done, thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you. So I want to thank everybody for their participation. Mr. Temple, I am going to ask you, Mr. McDowell, we probably will want you to meet another time to be on to offer how you took the suggestions or whatever was said tonight. And I want to thank you so very much for having all the information for us. And like this time before the other meeting, if you will get whatever you're going to present to Rosie so we can send it out to everybody. I believe somebody asked for your information. Hey, Cheryl, I think somebody asked for your information, and I think there was something else that you said you were going to get out to people. So if you get that to Rosie, we can make sure that we email that out to everybody. And I just want to tell everybody to be careful. I don't know if you all have been looking at the weather. We're supposed to get higher temperatures, nice weather, and then it's going to drop again real cold, maybe almost even snow. So I want to tell everybody just to be careful and take care of yourselves out there. I will say one positive thing that the Omicron numbers statewide and in our area are going down some. So that's a good thing. Please continue to keep yourself safe. And thank you everybody so much for coming on tonight. Everybody have a good night.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.